Yeah, here we are on the Ides of April. Ides. What do you mean? No, Ides. It's the 15th of... Okay. Never mind. Oh, I gotta go. Hey, welcome. Some people, season 7, episode 8 of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. We are powered by Grantham Home Hardware, supported by Niagara Parks Commission. I haven't done this in 2 weeks. My lips are a little lazy. Also, Vera Wellness and Verge Insurance. We are supported by WeeStreem, produced by WeeStream. This whole production is by Canada's foremost streaming company, WeeStream, and these are your specialities here at the Poorhouse on Ontario Street. Okay? Now, it's been just an absolutely beautiful day. Fiddler's Poorhouse has once again agreed to let us sit in here and inconvenience their staff, and they do this all year long, and we just really appreciate what they do for us. Now, there's a gentleman that lives in Niagara, has lived in, I guess, Fort Erie for more than 20 years. He is probably the gold medalist of hockey referees. And most of us, if not all of us, have never heard of this man. But he's been refereeing in the NHL and all sorts of leagues around, and he's still going, and he's been doing so for many, many years. And Kevin and I came across this fellow thanks to a third-party suggestion that maybe we should talk to this guy, and it's an amazing story. And once again, as what happens in Niagara and other communities, I suppose as well, is these unsung heroes walk among us, and we never know that they're there. They just go about their daily jobs for many, many, many years, and then maybe later somebody says, hey, maybe you should talk to this guy. Well, we're going to be talking to that guy later in the show. Also, there was a bit of closure to a long-standing Niagara murder mystery, I guess is the best way you could say it. Was it murder? Not quite sure. Perhaps that's too strong a word, but we'll delve into that a little bit more as we go on. So hang around for 30 seconds. We'll be right back. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a couple of weeks since we talked to you last, and those 2 weeks go a little bit quickly on some level and a little bit slowly on others. Quickly because 2 weeks can fly by before you know it. Slowly because we miss talking to you for a week. So it's like, gosh, I wish we were doing a show again, and then, well, here we are. Again, Season 7, Episode 8. It's hard to believe that we've been doing this as long as we have. And it's only because of you, and we really do appreciate your continued support for Niagara 411 Live with Sterry here at Fiddler's Poorhouse, 149 St. Paul Street. Come on in, join us for a bevy and a lunch or whatever, and we'd be glad to wave hello. Kevin, we got a number of things going on today. I guess a lot of the conversation now is not necessarily Niagara focused, but Niagara, of course, is part of it all because we're all a part of what's going on in the world right now, and the gas prices and the liberal majority thing happening as per the by-elections on Monday, and and the regional maybe redistribution of power and reorganization, and there's a lot of the political minutia surrounding everything that we do these days, and we don't spend a lot of time on that on this show because you can go on to the CBC or the CTV or the CNNs or the CP24s or whatever the news thing is that you do, and find out all that information. You don't need to listen to me to find that out, but there it is. Carney temporarily suspending federal fuel excise tax on gas, diesel, and aviation fuel, and it's supposed to save us a quarter of a dollar a liter until hell freezes over. I don't know, but at this point in time, if you need gas, you go get gas and you pay what it is and you deal with the aftermath. It's just it's something I can't waste my time on, frankly. I mean, Kevin, can you? Kevin Jack, ladies and gentlemen, is our executive producer and the dude that sort of philosophized this program. And Kevin, you and I have had a thing with this program for a while, is the fact that trying to walk that line between doing things that are relevant to Niagara and doing all of those things that anybody can tune into around the world and talk about. We don't need to talk about Trump and Iran and the Hormuz Strait and all that crap because everybody else is talking about it. You're not going to listen to me talk about it because why would you? Why would you care what I think about it? And you shouldn't. But here we are in Niagara doing this microcosm of pseudo news / entertainment, and I think we've done a pretty good job of it here in Niagara.
No, but you're bang on, Lee. I mean, we don't need to be talking about international stuff. We got lots of stuff to talk about here in Niagara, but we also don't want to go on the snore topics of amalgamation. Like, oh my God.
I know.
Can you just kill me now?
Yeah, like we've been doing this for 30 years. Just stop. Now,
but we do have some good stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, there is something cool though, because right around the corner, and once again, I've said this about hockey, in full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of the sport. I enjoy the talent that it takes to play it. I admire and appreciate the talent it takes to play the sport, but it's not my thing. I feel exactly the same way, even more so when it comes to soccer. If I want to fall asleep in the middle of an afternoon, all I have to do is turn on a soccer game. I'm out. So it's not my thing. However, I'm in a minority when it comes to that because we have this massive FIFA World Cup tournament coming to North America in a very short period of time. And there's kind of a cool thing happening right now, which is the FIFA World Cup tournament trophy
it's a tour.
Travel tour.
It's a tour. It's the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour, Lee. And there you go. You see the image here. That's the famous World Cup trophy that somebody's going to be hoisting at what? I think East Rutherford, the one in New Jersey. I think they're hosting the final match.
Yeah.
And it right now is going across Canada. So it was already in Vancouver on the weekend.
Yes.
It was in Calgary on Monday.
Yep.
Was in Winnipeg on Monday. And then, for whatever reason, takes a month off.
And we're not even playing any World Cup events out there, are we?
No, just Vancouver. Vancouver.
Oh
and
yeah,
Toronto.
Vancouver we do, yeah.
But nothing in Calgary, nothing in Winnipeg, nothing in Montreal. I don't think so. And then Halifax, Ottawa, and finally Toronto. So, but it takes a month off. And then, Lee, there's also this other headline that we came across. We're just trying to make sense of this whole thing.
It's coming to Niagara.
Well, sorry. Here, let me pull that up.
No, that's okay. But the thing is, the World Cup FIFA competitions in Canada are happening between June the 11th. Okay, now think about this. Mark this on your mental calendar. June the 11th and July the 19th. Right? That's the window. Cross-country tour to celebrate FIFA World Cup to wrap with stop in Niagara Falls in July. FIFA announces nationwide tour with stops in 34 Canadian communities, as we've just been talking about. On and on and on. But apparently the stop in it. Okay.
I don't know. So these are two separate things, Lee, and this is what's so confusing. So
I know
the
they
FIFA
are. But
World Cup Trophy Tour is going across Canada now.
yes.
But then, while the World Cup is going on, there's this other thing, this cross-country tour, where
Yes.
they're just kind of doing festivals. But it's not the trophy. But the trophy is going to be in Toronto, May 25th and 26th. But then sometime in July,
May 25th, 26th.
FIFA's doing a 2-day celebration in Niagara Falls.
Well,
But they don't know when.
But
So I'm confused.
But I'm confused too, because July there's a thing there that says there it is. Hold it right there, Kev. It says Celebrate Tour will begin June 1st. FIFA announced the Canada Celebrates Tour will begin on June 1st and run through the duration of the World Cup until the championship game on July the 19th. There will be 2 legs of the tour, which will stop in communities in every province and 1 territory before wrapping up with 2-day event in Niagara Falls and Brampton, Ontario. Brampton, okay, whatever.
All right.
And that's the wrap up of the tournament.
Right, but we don't know when it's coming to Niagara Falls. Before wrapping up a 2-day event, and they say, lots of quotes. And then they get on, according to the release, FIFA will provide more specific details about the events being held in each community at a later date.
But how much later date? That's not far away.
I know.
For something as big as the World Cup, how do we not know exactly what's going to happen and when? Because the city fathers of Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, whatever, you have to plan for this stuff. You have to plan for security. You have to plan for crowd control. You have to know what the hell's going on farther away than 2 weeks before it happens.
Yeah, so these they're two separate things, and it's very confusing. So the trophy, which I would love it if the trophy came to Niagara Falls.
Well, sure.
It's not coming to Niagara Falls. And just so you know, if people want to go to Toronto and see it, this is all sponsored by Coca-Cola. And you can go on their website and you can apply for tickets, and tickets are free. I think it's just for crowd control. They have 10,000 tickets allotted for the stop in Toronto.
I mean, don't you have to hand it? And frankly, I haven't had a sip of Coca-Cola in, 30 years. But don't you have to hand it to that company for their continued resilience in marketing their product? Coca-Cola, right there. Again, World Cup by Coca-Cola. This is a company that is just astounding to me. If you travel to Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, any third world island or whatever down there, you still see signs from back in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, those great big old collectible metal Coca-Cola signs. They're everywhere. I in my life, I can't remember any company that has marketed their brand better than Coca-Cola. They're just off the charts crazy.
So
off the charts.
What I'm showing you here, Lee, is the art gallery in Vancouver, and I guess they were hosting, and there you see that lineup snaking around. So this was what was happening in Vancouver last Friday, Saturday, when the trophy landed in Canada.
It doesn't look massive, though. I mean, there's people there, but
But it's controlled.
it's all right.
There you go. I mean, there it is.
It's not like St. Peter's Square or anything.
There you go. Here it is in Vancouver. So here, this is one. There you go. Coca-Cola marketing.
Unbelievable. Aren't they're the best, I'm telling
So
you.
this is not coming to Niagara Falls.
No,
But some big celebration about
Is.
FIFA for 2 days is coming to the Falls.
but we don't know what it is.
We don't know when it is. But we know all these other dates that the trophy's coming, but it's not coming here.
Okay, but I have to tell you, and this is probably just me, but I don't think it's just me. I think there's other people. When the FIFA machine and the megalith rolls into Ontario, I don't want to be anywhere near it. I don't want to go anywhere near Toronto. I don't want to go anywhere near Brampton. I don't want to go anywhere near anything that is putting on a soccer game. I just want to stay in my little home with my cat and watch something on TV. It's going to be Soccer-mageddon, I believe, in Ontario, and I'm not going anywhere near there. I was in Spain when there was a regional soccer championship between Spain and Germany. I was in Malaga, Spain, and that was nowhere near the hype that this game is going to be. But it was a big deal. I mean, it was a big deal because they take their football very seriously over there. And it was absolutely flipping crazy when Spain took on Germany for the championship, and it was like, wow. And I was in a hotel room right downtown at the time, and I'm thinking, if it was like that during then, I don't want to be here. I know a lot of people in Toronto, if they're smart, they would put their houses up, if you can do it legally, put their houses up for rental and then leave town. You know, so people can come in and stay there and watch the sports, and then you go to France.
Have your whole trip paid for.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna be nuts.
Lee, coming up, we do have, just to give you the heads up, we do have Ashley and Brandy in the waiting room.
Oh,
so
good, okay.
Let's tee that up, get to our sponsors, and then we'll dive into Justice for Johnny. We've been following this very closely for the last couple of years.
Yeah, we have indeed. Ashley Cronkwright and Brandy Johnson are the ladies that Kevin is talking about. Back on February 29th, 24, Johnny Cronkwright was reported missing, and his family went on the hunt. They went on the search. We've talked to them before, and just recently, the reason we're talking about this today, just recently, there was a man that was sentenced as a result of Johnny's disappearance. After his disappearance, nobody knew what was going on. And eventually, it was March the 9th, 10 days after his initial disappearance, Johnny was found in a house, in a living room in St. Catharines. He was doused in bleach, covered in debris, left there like a bundle of trash. And no one could figure out exactly what the heck happened or why this happened. And it is a terribly, terribly stark example of what happens in the world of substance abuse. And the man that was ultimately responsible has recently been sentenced, and we'll talk about that in a minute with Ashley and Brandy. Grantham Home Hardware, thank you very much for continuing to be the keynote sponsor of this program. This is a really big season. Well, one of the probably two big seasons. Okay, 2 of 4. See, 4 seasons. Actually, spring is probably one of the bigger seasons for a company like Home Hardware, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. They have all sorts of things happening right now, deals on barbecues and patio furniture and accessories, lawn and garden, paints and kitchen products, etc., but mainly outdoor stuff and these kinds of things that are going on right now. They have some great deals. I was just flipping through their flyers right now, and you know those really cool Adirondack chairs? You used to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for an Adirondack style chair. Well, they've got some kind of cool things going on here, and barbecues with nice prices, etc. Grantham Home Hardware. Jake and Rob, thank you so much for continuing to support us here at Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. And the Niagara Parks Commission, they're heading into a big season too, and of course, as you know, golf courses are getting ready to open, and with the Niagara Parks, you have 3 big golf courses that you can choose from, and they have packages for you if you want to tee it up over the season. Legends and out in, well, it's still Niagara Falls, but I still call it Chippewa. Sorry. But yes, a beautiful Legends golf facility along Willoughby Drive and the Parkway in Chippewa, as well as Whirlpool Golf Course on the Niagara Gorge along the Parkway. And there are so many features that have been added and enhanced in the Niagara Parks Commission portfolio, including the Fly Niagara. It's just...
Yeah, the Niagara takes flight. So, Lee, I'm throwing this up, and Mayor Jim Diodati posted this. Now, I don't know if you're a Jersey Shore fan, Lee, but Snooki from Jersey Shore was in Niagara and met up with the mayor, and the two of them decided to go on the flight together. So
that is so cool.
There's Mayor Jim and Snooki. And
I didn't know you had that video.
The Snooki shop.
I'm not a fan of Jersey Shore, but I do know of it, and I do know of Snooki. And, of course, leave it to Mayor Diodati to take a trip.
Never a photo op missed.
He never misses a photo op, ever. So, look at those beautiful blossoms.
Yeah, they are.
God, we live in a lovely area, do we not?
We really are lucky, Lee.
We are totally blessed. Vera Wellness, trauma-focused care for adults ready to find safety, strength, and peace. Led by psychotherapist, well-trained and well-traveled, Mika Matthews. We thank you folks for continuing to be here. And this is a service that, I guess you could say, unfortunately, our society seems to have more and more need for. And to take you from your darkest place to your lightest place, give them a shout at Vera Wellness Psychotherapy Services, okay? The Virgin Insurance Group, been around since 1953. They must be doing something right, or they keep trying to get it right. I'm kidding. No, they're home, business, auto, whatever, life insurance, whatever your needs might be in the insurance realm. Virgin Insurance. Main office over on Ontario Street here in St. Catharines, another office, satellite office in Niagara Falls. Thank you, Mark Shirk and crew, for continuing to put your faith in us to promote your product and support Niagara. And of course, WeeStreem, there, that little logo on the far right there. Kevin, Jack, and Brandon Scram formed this company. Now, every time I say this, Kevin, you say, no, it's another one. 10 years?
Yeah, 2015, I believe we will launch. So we might be into our 11th year, and later on in the program, I can tell you about some of the nice stuff that we've got going on.
Okay.
But was
That's
in
awesome.
Port Colborne last night, helping them out with their city council meeting. Was in West Lincoln the night before that. So yeah, we are far-reaching. I know a lot about what's going on municipally across the region.
Right. Okay. After Johnny Cronkwright died of a drug overdose, this is such a sad and needless story, as I'm sure his family agrees with. Was found in a squalid apartment in downtown St. Catharines. His body doused with bleach, covered with debris, just kind of tossed out with the garbage. We have finally reached some kind of closure, but I don't know what kind, and that's why we're going to be talking with Ashley Cronkwright, his sister, and Brandy Johnson, his girlfriend, right now. Ladies, hi, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So, Ashley, hi again. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Brandy, hello again. So, this has been a long and painful roller coaster ride for you ladies and the family of Johnny. And finally, and you'll be able to help me understand how much closure has happened. There was a recent decision that a man was sentenced to 9 months in prison. Where are we right now as far as you ladies are concerned? How you doing? How's the family? What's the situation? Just bring us up to date, okay?
Um, we're still pretty upset. I mean, even with um the court proceedings of my brother's case, um, I feel like there was still a lot of neglect, and we felt pretty unseen. Uh, so the Crown Attorney made a deal with the accused that if he pled guilty to one charge, they would drop another charge, and the accused and his defense lawyer agreed, which ultimately gave him the sentence that he ended up receiving.
What was the charge that they
With that
What was the charge that they dismissed?
failure to report. So he pled guilty to indignity to a dead body.
Okay.
With no, they made that deal without consulting like any of the family about that, which was an issue.
Yeah.
Especially when so they contacted us was a week before his court to do the victim impact statements, and my son made a point, like my brother didn't get to have like his 10-day feast. Like in our culture, that's what we do. We sing to the spirit and feed the spirit to help him on his spirit journey, and my brother didn't get to have that because he spent his 10 days decomposing in that house. And the Crown Attorney made a comment how they wish they knew that because it would have impacted the sentence, and they would have known that if they would have consulted the family before cutting deals with the accused.
Yeah.
So that was a little upsetting.
Okay, so one of the I guess open-ended questions is a definitive explanation of specifically how Johnny died. Has there been forensic evidence, autopsy, decision as to as I say, a definitive explanation of how Johnny died and exactly when?
So the autopsy report concluded that Johnny died of an overdose.
Okay.
The time of death couldn't be determined because of the level of decomposure. So we're not sure exactly what day.
Because he was actually in that dingy living room like refuse for 10 days.
Yeah, where his body was like the things they did to Johnny's body to speed up the decomposure, and also like the bugs and insects and stuff that were eaten away, and the rodents and stuff that were eaten away at his body.
How?
Because of those things, like they can give us an exact time of death.
These so-called humans that lived in that house, was there ever any testimony or statement from them as to why they let this man lay there all these days and took these steps to attempt to disguise what was happening? Or it's an unconscionable, twisted situation. Have they ever come forward? Did they ever release any statements about what the hell they were thinking about or what was going on? Like, do we really know what anybody was thinking in all of this?
No. So after, like during his sentencing, the judge asked if there was anything he'd like to say, and he stood up and said no. But the lawyer tied it to drug substance use.
Well, yeah, okay. But we know there was substance abuse. But the other people how many other people were living in that house?
So there was 9 people. for 10 days who just went about their days with eating, sleeping, socializing in the room next to where my brother's body was decomposing.
That is unfathomable. 9 people living in a house where a deceased person is wallowing in garbage, doused in bleach, and not one of these people feels enough conscience to do something, report something, even an anonymous call.
Look the family in the face every day, because remind you, like every day we were at that house searching for my brother, and every day they told us we haven't seen him.
So we now have one person charged with 1 count of mistreating a body, and that's it.
Yeah.
And one person out of 9 others that are in that house gets 9 months in jail just because it's a drug overdose and society sort of accepts druggies as dispensable. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to us also. And the thing is, like, that impacted us the most is, like, I feel like they're so quick to like prosecute us through their systems and label us through their systems, but like the parts of the systems that offer healing and offer care was never offered to us, which is sad too. Like, we know Johnny struggled with addiction. We know Johnny struggled with mental health. Like, we know these things. Like, these are things that our people have struggled with for generations.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, he does deserve to be treated as a human being. His family, his partner, we deserve those parts of the system that help in our healing.
I do agree with you in that it seems, though, try to do the, as they say, the 30,000-foot view. It seems that there are processes for the so-called well-adjusted citizen and other processes for the disturbed and addicted people. And I just don't understand why we have a house full of people that could be held unaccountable for the disappearance of your brother.
My thing was, and when I was told about the sentence that was agreed upon by the Crown Attorney, the first thing out of my mouth was, this is a racist system. This system was built for white people, by white people, to destroy Indigenous people. And I feel like that played a huge part in this whole entire case from the beginning to the end. When it comes to my brother.
Ashley, let me step back a little bit and offer a different perspective. You could be totally right, because I do not come from the Indigenous world. I've lived in Manitoba, where there are massive Indigenous societal issues, et cetera, and BC, and I've become in contact with this issue many, many times on many different levels. So I'm not at all disputing or dismissing what you're saying. I think my question though is it the Indigenous versus mainstream, or is it addicts versus mainstream, irrespective of culture?
I think it's both, and I think, like, being an Indigenous person as an addict, like, I think it's both, right? Like,
okay,
like, I've done more time for an assault charge, for punching someone in the face. I've done more time than this guy got for what has happened to my brother. Through native court, I've done more time.
Okay.
And honestly, my brother, like, it's not a secret, like the last name Cronkwright and the involvement
Right.
in the criminal justice system, right? And I feel like that was taken into play.
So does
Systematic racism is very much
do you feel
a
that
thing for indigenous.
do you feel that the justice system has just sort of taken for granted who you are and the reputation of the whatever the family is and all the rest of it, and just sort of chalked it up to well, here's another thing, and let's close this case and move on? Do you think they take this stuff for granted?
Absolutely. Because if it was, why if they handled my brother's case with care, then how come his family? Let's just go back to the very beginning. How come the police never knocked on the door when I asked them to? How come my indigenous way of knowing that my brother was in that home was laughed at? How come?
Why did they laugh at you?
When we met up, when I asked them, when I told them why I knew my brother was in that house, the police told me, yeah, good luck trying to get a search warrant. Good luck telling that to a judge. Like, explaining that to a judge for a search. I'm not asking you to get a search warrant. I'm asking you to just follow up on a lead of a missing person investigation and go knock on the door and ask them. They never did that. We met up the day my brother's body was discovered. We met up in front of the police station. They knew we were going there because I told the detectives the day before that if they didn't go there, we as a community would go there. And they told me, do what you have to do. They never sent an officer with us. They never sent a crisis team with us. Nothing like that. After my brother's body was discovered, we were never offered victim services. We were never offered counseling. Nothing like that through the justice system. If my brother's case was handled with care, if my brother's
I believe if it was handled with care, they would have addressed the fact that he wasn't in court or in jail for a numerous amount of months that him and I were together. He stayed out of trouble. He was trying to get help. He was doing the work, trying to go to rehab, trying to get all these programs done so that me and him can build this future that we wanted together. But instead, they only wanted to talk about how the man who was accused of this is doing the very thing that Johnny wanted to do, but they just made Johnny seem like a criminal addict who had mental problems. They never once made him seem like a human who was trying to build a future with someone.
Obviously, Johnny was a fellow that had mental issues and substance abuse issues. That's a given, but it doesn't justify the way he was treated or ignored, or worse in this, because it's not part of what we think of as a civilized society of looking after people, be they high level, low level, mid level, whatever these people are. It doesn't justify that. Michael Patterson is 36 years old. He lived in that derelict home on Raymond Street where Johnny's body was discovered by a civilian volunteer search team. That's how it was rated. That's how it was referred to in the article. And I'm just quoting here, as civilian volunteer search team. His body was discovered on March the 9th. What does that mean? What is a civilian search team? Was that you?
Yeah, that's us. That's our community. And that came together and discovered this. So it's not just us either that carry this trauma from that discovery. Like, there's a whole community of people who are still struggling with the trauma from discovering Johnny's body.
The
whole community.
The calculating and disgusting attempt to hide the smell of his passing, while 9 people ate, slept, and socialized in the next room. They had no concern. The reason he was doused in bleach and covered in stuff had nothing to do with trying to disguise him or get rid of him or hide the crime. It was just so that it didn't smell so bad in their room. I mean, how insensitive and disconnected from life can humans be that that's the reason they allow a dead person to languish in their room is just because it doesn't smell good. Like, that's like rotten bananas or fruit. It's unconscionable. I can't wrap my head around it.
I think what's for us was the hardest to wrap our head around is the fact that Johnny and I would walk past that house daily, and we watched multiple people get taken out of that house from overdoses, and we'd always make sure that it wasn't someone we knew. And so the fact that there's been multiple ambulance calls to that house to get people out, why not this time? That's what we don't get.
Exactly. Did they maybe care more for these other people? Were they friends or family members? Did Johnny go there often? Did he know these people? Did they know him? Did they like each other?
Grew up with them. We grew up with them, and Samantha is a blood relative.
Who's Samantha?
Samantha Embert. She's the co-accused.
She's the what?
She's a co-accused, so we can't touch too much on her because there's still the publication ban because she is going to trial.
Okay.
Next month, but
now what is she charged with?
Indignity to a dead body and failure to report.
So the same charges that this Michael Patterson was charged with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask the question, why only those two if 9 were in there?
Exactly.
How did the police pick those two? Were they more involved, or what do you got on that? And again, I know you may not be able to touch on the second one.
We don't know. So early in the police investigation, we were labeled as witnesses, so they couldn't discuss any parts of the case with us or why they believe the things they believe or a timeline they have. But the detective did let us know that after everything is done that he'd like to have a sit down with us and let us know like how he came up with what he did.
Can I ask you, without divulging any names or confidentiality, whether you have confidence about whoever it is that is your legal representation, your lawyer team, if you have one? I don't know who your lawyer is, and it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, do you have confidence that you're being represented in our judicial process like you would like to be?
Absolutely not.
Do you have a public?
Absolutely.
Do you have a public defender or prosecutor? Do you have? Do you pay for legal representation? What is that situation?
At this moment, no. Like through their court proceeding, no. It's the Crown Attorney who's defending Johnny and our family, and no, we feel like there's no care there. There's no like it's whatever.
What does the Crown Attorney? What does the Crown Attorney want to see happen? What is their goal? What is the prosecution's goal in this case?
We don't know. We don't know. They've never had that conversation with us.
You don't know?
We don't know. We don't know. We didn't even know that a deal was made until after it was made. So we don't know. We really don't know.
So you have no idea what conversations are happening behind the scenes, behind closed doors, between prosecution and defense, or whatever it is to...
what kind of deals are being made? None of that.
You know nothing about that?
No, but then they want us to write...
Which in the interest of...
They want us to...
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
But then they want us to write victim impact statements, and they want us to show up to trials and get on stands and help them try and get convictions. And it's like,
but they're not talking to you.
Well, they're not talking to us. And at the end of the day, like, for what? For what? What do you want a victim impact statement from us for when you've already made? It's not going to change. It's not going to make a difference in the sentence that they receive.
No, because
you've already made a deal. Like, you already signed on a deal for them.
Yeah.
So you want us to come to court.
There are sentencing guidelines for all charges. So you get, for the charge that this woman is up on and what Michael Patterson is the fact of you've got the charge as it stands, and this is the window of penalty for those charges. And the judicial system works within that window. You're not going to get less than that, you're not going to get more than that, but you're going to get something in between. So there's nothing really debatable about this. The guy, she was either responsible or she wasn't. She gets off or she gets this thing. But it doesn't address the entire issue of what happened to Johnny between February 29th and March the 9th. It doesn't address the bigger problem.
Well, that's it. And it was a failure of the system at so many different levels, because
unbelievable.
Like when the substance use comes into play, when that house itself, like there was city bylaw and police officers and complaints, like that house should have been condemned months before my brother's body was even pulled out of there.
They've known that house. They've known that house forever. Do you know who owns the house? Who owns that house?
They live out west.
Of course
Vancouver or something. Yeah. And then, so there's the owners, there's the property managers, there's the city bylaw, there's the police, there's the crown attorneys. Like it's just
Have the people that are responsible for managing that property had any responsibility to talk to people about this? I mean, you talk about property managers. That's a very important thing for absentee owners. You hire somebody to look after your property and make sure it's properly looked after, properly rented, properly paid for, taxes are looked after. It's a business. Property management is a business. How can a place deteriorate to that level without somebody being accountable?
I think, like, I can't say for sure, but I think because there was no hot water, there was no electricity, there was no water running at all in the home.
Are you kidding?
But the property managers still continued to take rent money from the elderly couple that lived downstairs.
Oh my God.
So I think that's why things were never reported properly back to the landlord. And when I did speak to the landlord or the landlord's daughter, it was fingers all pointed. Oh, it was the property manager. It's their fault. It's this. It was never, you know what I mean? So at this point, I was just sitting back and waiting for the criminal part of this to settle before, I mean, everybody needs to be held accountable for their part.
But it won't. It's you know as well as I do that that's not going to happen.
Well, we're going to fight for it.
Well, you keep fighting, and I appreciate that. But the different levels of this are unbelievable. Ashley, Brandy, thank you much for being here. I know we've been covering this with you ladies since 24, and I can't imagine your emotions attached to this and how you go about your daily lives, and it's just the seeming, I won't say definitively, but the seeming injustice and unbelievability of this is beyond my comprehension. Ladies, thanks for being here today, and we'll obviously talk again soon as this thing goes on. And I'm sorry it continues to go on. It would be nice for you to be able to go on with your lives with some sense of peace, and I hope that happens one day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'd like to start healing.
It would be very nice.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ashley, Brandy, thanks.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
There are some things, Kevin, that are just, there's where we are, ladies and gentlemen, in the lovely Fiddler's Poorhouse, 149 St. Paul Street in St. Catharines. Our multi-million-dollar set here for Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. We spare no expense. But there are some things that really are beyond comprehension. And this is something that you would look at on television, and if you didn't know it was a true story, if you didn't know it was based in fact, you'd probably say, how outrageous is that? That doesn't make any sense. 9 people in a flop house of addicts, and one person dies, and all they try to do is mask the smell to make their existence a little bit easier, because it's just annoying. He's just annoying. He's not a human being who passed away. He's just an annoying inconvenience. That's what this lump is in my living room. It's just an annoying inconvenience. Well, how can we make it not smell so bad? I'll just do this. Really? I mean, really? Grantham Home Hardware.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
No more needs to be said.
No, I know. Grantham Home Hardware, locally owned, genuinely Canadian, our primary sponsor here on the program. Thank you very much, Jake and Rob and all the wonderful staff. I was in there the other day, as a matter of fact, doing a couple of things, and all things were 2 thumbs up. Grantham Home Hardware in the Grantham Plaza, corner of Scott and Vine and Niagara, that area there. You know what he is. So thanks for being here. Niagara Parks Commission heading into a great big season for Niagara Parks with spring coming up. The blossoms are up. The flowers are starting to grow. The gardens are starting to be replanted. The floral clock will soon be a thing again as things start to grow, and the parkway is going to be probably better connected from a cell service point of view than ever before, because if you've ever done this, gone into Niagara Falls area, and you have a cell service here, like a Bell or Virgin or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you get this text comes up, says, "Welcome to the United States." Have you ever had that happen? Think, oh my God, I'm not in the United States. Well, sometimes your cell phone thinks you are. Well, that's one thing that's pretty cool that the Niagara Parks Commission is doing, is they're recalibrating those towers along the parkway so that hopefully it will recognize that you're still in Canada when you're that close to the border. That's kind of a cool thing. And all the golf stuff and things that are happening along there. So big season for Niagara Parks Commission. Vera Wellness Psychotherapy Services. When you're in a dark place, they can make it a little lighter for you. Verge Insurance Group, home, auto, life, whatever kind of insurance you need, they are the brokers that can find you the best coverage at the best price. Kevin, you were going to talk about some of the stuff you guys at WeeStreem were doing.
Yeah, a couple of things we're doing. We're helping out. We were just at a site visit yesterday at Michelangelo's in Hamilton. Never been
there before. What is
before.
Michelangelo's?
Stony Creek area. You see the
yeah,
signs
but
for
what
it on
is
the
a
QEW
Michelangelo's?
Banquet hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're going there. There's an organization called FedCap, so we're going to be providing some AV services for them. On Friday, we're headed out to the Niagara Falls Convention Center. We're doing some early recording for our involvement with EduCon, which is a branch off of the Comic-Cons that, of course, Chris Dabrowski is behind.
What's the name of it again?
EduCon.
EduCon.
So imagine a Comic-Con,
yeah,
but all surrounded and themed to education. So it's for the schools, targeting the schools.
That's very neat.
Absolutely. When Chris rolled it out for the first time last year, I actually approached him and said, "This is brilliant. This is a great idea. Do it on a weekday. Do it towards the end of the school year." And those are the field trips that you look forward to as a kid, right?
What is the driving force behind this? I'm really interested in this.
I really think it was just a brainchild of Chris Dabrowski and James Ponce and the whole team down there at Impact, I think they are. Or the Comic-Con people. They do the Comic-Con, they do Steel City Comic-Con, they do Nickel City Comic-Con, and this is just, hey, let's do EduCon. And
so it's an education forum.
Exactly.
Like trade show.
Exactly. So instead of coming in and seeing things that would appeal to the Comic-Con people, you're going to have vendors that are appealing and presentations that are appealing to children.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. So, for example, I think, and I forget her name, the lady that was the host of The Big Comfy Couch.
Oh, yeah?
She's going to be there and be giving a talk. Right? So some of these people, so instead of the Comic-Con lore, it's more the education lore. So you would have maybe people like Splash and Boots and things like that.
That's such a cool thing.
I really thought it was a great idea, and that's coming up in June. If there are any schools around here that are still looking for a great end-of-year field trip, it's positioned perfectly on the school calendar year, and it's so close. So
and how do you,
talk to Chris and her friends down there.
Sorry to interrupt you. How do you stream an event like that? Like, what is What do you try to
So our role
accomplish there?
Our role there is we're taking some of the panel discussions and we're making it available to some of the schools that geographically a little further away. Right? You can imagine that a school in Ottawa not going to make it down for EduCon.
Yeah.
Right? Even schools in the United States, but right across Canada, right? Toronto schools might be a little hard pressed to get down to EduCon.
Right.
But hey, what if we made some of this content available for them online? So it's a bit of a leap of faith, a little bit of an experiment.
Yeah.
But what they want to do is grow this brand of EduCon and make this something that schools can
That could be a
participate
global
in.
initiative.
Right, whether they participate in it in person or virtually, right, and be able to kind of scratch both itches at the same
Because I
time.
mean,
So-
that's just something that would be interesting to students and parents, but educators and administrators as well. With especially in these days of everybody reevaluating how school boards are structured and manufactured and what itineraries and curriculums are developed, etc. That's a really, really interesting. And that's happening when, Kev?
Oh boy, I just pressed the wrong
Oh,
button here.
I'm sorry.
Nope, there we go, right
I'm sorry.
there.
I didn't mean to put the pressure
There
on
we
you.
go. That was last year's, Friday, May 30th, 2025. I think this is June the 4th. Just
Yeah,
right
sorry,
there,
I
right there.
didn't mean to hold your feet to the fire. It's just that I found it quite interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. I think it's
Wow.
the brainchild. Like, I haven't seen any other EduCons out there.
I've never heard the concept before, which is
Yeah, we'll be
really
doing-
cool.
Yeah, so I think I honestly do think that it's a very cool concept.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we're working on, and then the following weekend we'll be in Toronto at the Care Center, and anybody in Niagara that's involved in youth volleyball, chances are you'll also be at the Care Center next week as they
right.
host their provincial championships. They don't always do that where they centralize in one area.
Yeah.
And it's pretty damn impressive here. I'll see if I can pull up a reel. They were thanking the Brock University volleyball team. We're up at the Care Center helping the OVA put together all the floors.
I've watched a bunch of the coverage that you guys have done with the volleyball competitions over the last few years, and you do a fabulous job. People think broadcasting or streaming a sporting event looks pretty easy. You go in and there's the court or there's the field or there it is, and you just turn the camera on and you let it go. Well, it's a hell of a lot more complicated than that. And if you make it look easy, like these guys do, then that means they're doing a hell of a job. Because
Well, thanks, Steve.
it's a very difficult job made easy by people that know what it is they're doing.
And there you see, this is just, a time-lapse video at EnterCare, and a big thank you to, I think, University of Toronto and Brock University.
Where is the Care Center?
C&E.
Oh, okay.
It's- I don't know that
Exhibition Stadium area.
Yeah, I don't know that it's the biggest convention center in Toronto, but it's remarkable. It's one of those ones, where it takes you 5 minutes to walk from one end to the other.
No.
Like, don't leave your phone.
Well, we're not talking about the Toronto Convention Center down on Front Street.
No, this one is definitely on C&E grounds.
This is on CNA
But
ground.
it is absolutely massive, and they take over the entire thing. And then here's a buddy here of ours with OVA, and I just bring it up. This guy here, Dylan,
Yeah.
and people may know him. He works for the OVA, but he's from Font Hill. He himself is also a track guy. He ran collegiately,
Okay.
still continues to coach the youth here. So you'll see him up at Brock University or Young Sportsplex, helping out those guys with
Nice.
track and field. And
Nice.
here's what he does professionally. He's doing this. So he's talking about all the tile that had to be laid down there.
And
at
help
the
me out
Care
again.
Center.
When does that start?
For us, that's going to start next weekend, so a week this Friday.
Okay.
We'll really be there on Saturday for, I think that's the Grand Mecca. They usually bring us in for the U18 and the Tier 1.
Yeah,
But, I
yeah.
mean, there are going to be, I want to say thousands. I don't know that it's 1,000 teams, but there are going to be hundreds of teams that are rolling through the
I couldn't
Enercare
say
Center.
1,000, but hundreds, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hundreds of teams that will be rolling through there. And again,
That's
anybody,
so cool.
anybody locally that's involved in competitive youth volleyball, chances are you'll be cruising through the Enercare Center there.
Isn't that the
before too
wonderful
long.
thing about, as I've said often before, technology or anything really can be used for good or evil, and we're exposed every day to the evil uses of various technology and social media, etc. So, and it's rare that we have an opportunity to focus on the positive side, because as the old news industry used to say, if it bleeds, it leads. In other words, negative stuff gets a lot more attention and sells a lot more ads than positive news. It's just, it's unfortunately the way of human nature. I mean, I've been in media for 50 years, and it's still that way. If it bleeds, here are the two constants, and they are politically incorrect today. But the truth, I'm afraid, is still the truth. If it bleeds, it leads, and sex sells. I came up through media. I did a lot of sales. I did a lot of on-air stuff. I've covered all sorts of roles in this industry, from executive to the lowest level, and I had a wonderful career. Was it all great? No. Was it all horrible? No. But those two mantras, my friends, are still alive today. If it bleeds, it leads, and sex sells. And if you are ever going to think that those things will be discarded in our society, it's going to take a gazillion years for that to happen, because it ain't going to happen.
And Lee, you talk about technology, and technology good, technology bad. You were saying, oh my God, I thought that technology had erased simple counterfeiters.
No, this is a cool story. So, who thought counterfeiting was a thing other than in the movies? Well, earlier this month, detectives with the NRPS became involved in an investigation surrounding the use of counterfeit money used in an online buy and sell platform. On the 30th of March, the victim and the suspect agreed to meet at a Welland area. So we're talking like a marketplace thing on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, it's a private social media buy-sell thing. Fine. So they met at a coffee shop in Welland to complete the sale of a used cell phone. I don't know who buys cell phones, but anyway. The suspect paid in cash, consisting of various Canadian currency denominations. A couple of days later, the victim realized that the cash used by the suspect was counterfeit. I don't know how they realized it, but it's probably not too tough these days to figure it out, because our money is fairly sophisticated now. Our notes are highly, highly technical. So anyway, detectives were able to identify and verify the suspect's identification, and his St. Catharines residence address. A judicial authorization to enter that residence was granted on April the 7th. So anyway, they charged this guy with counterfeiting, and they found counterfeiting paraphernalia on his presence. And the first thing that struck me is that I didn't think counterfeiting currency was still a thing. I didn't think that anybody these days had the technical know-how or the access to the proper equipment that would allow somebody to credibly copy our currency. So, but I was wrong. It's right there under our noses. A St. Catharines guy, 36-year-old Eric Rockwell of St. Catharines. He's been arrested, charged with the following offenses: uttering, using, or exporting money. I don't know what that means. Possession of property obtained by crime. Failed to comply with a release order, and on and on and on it goes. But I haven't heard of counterfeiting in ages. And as a matter of fact, it's coincidentally 3 or 4 days after I read this story, I was talking to a fellow on my front yard the other day, just having a chat, and he said, "Oh, by the way, be careful. I've heard there's counterfeit 20s out there." Now, I don't know whether this dude was the source of them or not, and I don't know how credible his information was, because this is a third party saying this to me. So I pass this on to you. Keep an eye on what your notes look like, what your bills look like. You know that shiny stuff that is now, that plasticated, shiny junk that's on our really ugly. I think our money is so ugly, but anyway, they do it that way so that it doesn't get counterfeited. So, but if you're able to like scratch or peel any of that stuff off, it ain't real. Because normally that stuff is like embedded right into the product, and you shouldn't be able to peel it off. Anyway, that was crazy.
Now, Lee, I got to credit somebody here, and just so you know, I'm just connecting with Brad here, so we're going to get him up in just a second.
Yeah, okay.
But on the from the deep troll, I got to give credit to, and I know sometimes
Deep
the comments.
troll.
This is a deep troll. So the counterfeiter guy, 36-year-old Eric Rockwell.
Yes,
Okay, so let's go into.
I mentioned him. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go into some of the comments here.
Okay.
And you know, sometimes the comments can go sideways and what have you.
But they can also be illuminating.
Right, and I got to give credit to this guy where credit is due.
Okay.
Look at Brad J. Lewis there.
Where's Brad? Brad J. Lewis. He should have realized somebody's watching him. Kevin Jack, deep troll, like it. I don't. Sorry, I don't. It doesn't resonate with me.
Right,
Realize-
exactly, which is why it's a deep troll. So the guy's name, Eric Rockwell.
Yeah.
And do you remember that there was a one-hit wonder in the 80s? Somebody's watching you.
Oh my God!
Remember
that
this
is
guy?
that is a really
By
way
Rockwell.
out esoteric reference. Holy cow!
Exactly. So I
How
gave
many
him,
people would get that?
I did. I gave him credit right on there. Deep troll, I like it. And then this guy, Justin Desmarais,
Yeah.
actually put up a little GIF there of the Rockwell video.
Oh, you guys live on a different planet than I
Oh
do.
yeah. So I gave him full credit for the deep troll on that one.
No, good for you, Bradley, because I sure didn't get it.
Yeah, no, I got that reference.
Wow.
Lee, it looks like I've connected with Brad here,
Good.
so we're good to go.
Good. Here we go. This gentleman came to our attention through a third-party reference, and it's a Niagara gentleman that is had one absolutely crazy career and would have probably stayed under the radar for you and I if we hadn't been able to bring this to light today. Brad Kovachik, he's a Fort Erie resident, was born in Woodstock, lived in Fort Erie for 20 plus years. Retired NHL linesman, did almost 2,000 regular season games plus a couple of hundred playoff games. Last game was March 31st, 2026. He's a referee-in-chief of the GOHL. So we're going to talk to him right now about his entire career, plus the Junior B playoffs right now that have St. Catharines Falcons versus the Cambridge Winterhawks. That's underway right now. Brad Kovachik, hopefully I'm not butchering your name, but thanks for joining us today. Are we coming through loud and clear?
Loud and clear, and it's Kovachik, but you say it like
I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
everybody does. Everybody does.
So it's Kovachik?
Yeah.
All right, Brad, thank you for correcting me. It's always good to be brought back to earth. So, considering the career that you've had, you look like a very young man. You've aged extremely well by the looks.
Well, I think you're being very generous. Yeah. 30 years on the ice dealing with these young athletes, puts a little gray in your beard, and it all in all, it's awesome.
So, are you still a Fort Erie resident?
I am. I'm a Fort Erie resident of about 24 years now.
Okay.
I married a lady from Fort Erie, and been down here ever since. And it's kind of an easy transition. Woodstock's a small town too, and moving to Fort Erie, everybody's been very accepting of me, and it's been a pretty easy transition.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Woodstock. I lived in Sarnia for a little while, traveled through London, Woodstock area for a number of years. So yeah, it's a nice community. So we're happy to have you here. So before we talk about what's going on today, let's do a complete rewind to your career. We are fascinated by by you and where you've been, and walk us through the chronology of when you got into this business, and walk us through what's brought us up to now.
Yeah, everything worked out pretty seamless for me, and I've been very lucky along the way. I started refereeing when I was 12 years old at the old Perry Street Arena in Woodstock. Played junior hockey in Woodstock and finished playing when I was around 19. And during that time, I had a lot of friends that refereed at the time. I got to know a lot of the junior referees. So the head guy in the junior ranks said, "Hey, you ever want to go do some junior hockey?" So I said, yeah, that's great. I know a lot of people, and I still, to this day, the OHA, I have some of my best friends I met through refereeing all around the Woodstock area. So you start doing junior hockey, and then when it gets to that level, you get asked for a OHL tryout. So I went there one summer to try out for the OHL, I think when I was 21. And the OHL hired me. I spent 3 years in the OHL. Last game in the OHL was the 1996 Memorial Cup in Peterborough.
Wow.
That was in late May, and early July, the NHL phoned me and offered me a contract. And so, 30 years later, here we are.
So, how long were you officiating NHL games?
NHL games, so I got hired in 1996, and my first year, you work half NHL and half American Hockey League, and then it's almost like an apprentice, and they kind of judge you, see if you have potential. And so I did 1 year of that, and then luckily enough, they hired me full-time in 97, 98.
There are so many questions. We could probably spend another couple of hours talking to you here if we had the time, but there are so many questions that those of us that are not behind the scenes like you are would have for officials. You are painfully aware of the constant oversight of officiating in any professional or semi-professional sport. It is absolutely relentless. You guys are always under the microscope, always in the spotlight. It's almost never good. If you come out in the spotlight, it's almost always negative. I don't know how you deal with that. But my first question is from OHL type level, as you go through minor sports and like just bubbling under professional stuff into the NHL. What is the difference? Is there a psychological, physiological, business difference from that evolution, from your officiating here and now officiating there? What does that change like?
It was a huge change. In the OHL, you're dealing with 16 to 19-year-old young men, and then when you get hired in the OHL, not only on the ice with grown men, you're dealing with grown men. So, and especially the first couple of years, you're dealing with grown men that have been in the league for 2, 5, 10 years. So that was the big learning curve for me, is how to communicate and how to deal with men that's their profession, right? In junior hockey, they're juniors, they're not getting paid, and stepping in the NHL, where these guys, this is the way they earn their living. So that's the biggest difference.
What kind of guidance or management do you get when you're, let's say this is your first game officiating in the NHL? I mean, you know the rules of hockey. You can see what's going on. You know a penalty when you see a penalty, etc. And you know you're going to get the odd wrong call, but I mean, you guys know the game probably better than the players in a lot of cases. But what is it like? What kind of, I guess what I'm saying is, what kind of guidance or mentorship or any kind of advice do your superiors, whoever they are, give you before you go out to do that first big game?
Yeah, it's a lot different now than when I first started. You're basically relying on the gentleman you're working with, and we had probably 5 or 6 supervisors that traveled around giving us advice. These days, much different with video. You know, we're under much more scrutiny now, but they also use that as a teaching tool now too. So every day, after every game, that night, they send every one of your calls to you, and they ask you just to take a look at them. Not saying they're right calls or bad calls. They
At
just
the
want
end
you
of
to
every
look at.
at the end of every game, they do that.
Yep, yep. So yeah, we're required to go on there and take a look, and if there's anything glaring, it's kind of a self-evaluation. Say, I could do this better, or I could do that better. So it's not being used against you. It's more of a learning tool.
Okay, Kevin.
Brad, how do you balance between being a fan and being a linesman? I mean, you got front row seats. You're obviously a hockey fan. You've seen some incredible moments. How do you stay in the moment?
And that was the hard part when I first started. Right, I came on the ice. I was a Boston Bruins fan growing up, and cheering them on. And April one time, and then the next September, I'm on the same ice as Cam Neely and my idol, like Ray Bork, and you're in awe of them. So you have to get over that pretty quickly, though. You have a job to do, and you have to get over your starstruck moment and keep learning.
Can I ask you another question about, forever 2,000 games, regular season playoffs as a linesman, and a lot of people always think about promotion. Never wanted to be a referee, or is the linesman profession completely different from the referee position? Why were you 2,000 games as a linesman?
Yeah, it's different. It's funny, in junior hockey, I did lines in the OHL, but refereed junior B hockey too, and I love both. When you get to that level, they scout you for one or the other. So obviously they came out and saw something they liked while I was doing lines in the OHL, and that led to me being hired in the NHL.
Would it be safe to say that, especially with the physicality of the job, are linesmen traditionally bigger? Are you a big guy? Are you 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, 6'3". It used to be that way. They used to only hire, big linesmen, but that's that's a different era too, right? You're wrestling around with them all night, and there's you're lucky if there's only one fight a game. So, the transition to hockey now, it's so fast, and sure, there is rough stuff once in a while, but it's not like you have to manhandle and wrestle them like you used to.
Yeah, and sorry, Lee, just going fanboy,
hey,
hockey fanboy.
You're our hockey guy, so that's all right. Go for it.
Speaking of, did you ever take a punch? Did you ever take an inadvertent blow in there, and who was it from, and did you just kind of brush it off as one of those things?
My first exhibition game was in St. Louis, and that's when they had Kelly Chase and Tony Twist.
As soon as you said St. Louis, I'm like, you're going Kelly Chase.
Yeah. So I did get in too quick my first fight. Luckily, I just took a Tony Twist right cross to the top of the head, not in the jaw, or I'd probably still be laying there.
And what was what did? Okay, this is the hockey mentality that I sometimes have a really difficult time wrapping my head around. Because I don't like going to a boxing match and seeing a hockey game break out. I prefer it to be the other way around. But what is that? What is that spark, that mentality, that adrenaline thing, or whatever it is that you're a linesman? You're not another player. You're not somebody trying to change the course of the game. You're monitoring the game. That's basically what you're doing. How does somebody get motivated to hit you in the head? Like, how does that happen?
Well, obviously he didn't do it on purpose. We have rules in place that if they do manhandle us or hit us on purpose, they're going to pay us.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So at least we know this smack that you took to the skull, it wasn't intentional.
It was probably my fault rather than his.
Okay, well, now my faith in humanity has been restored. So, like I said, there's 1,001 questions we could ask. What is perhaps the one thing about either being a linesman or referee or an official in a big-time hockey environment that probably you would think 99% of us have no idea happens?
Sorry, I'm moving at the same time. I have to plug you in or I'm going to lose you.
No problem, man.
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
No. If there was one thing that, as an official at the highest and moderate whatever level of hockey, what is the one thing that you would say the rest of us have no idea about? What goes on that you think, oh, if they only had an idea about what's really going on? What would you say? How would you fill in that blank?
Well, I think that's probably twofold. Off the ice, they have no idea the toll that the travel takes on you. Sometimes we can do 3 games in 3 nights in 3 different cities. So, that requires, 4:30, 5 o'clock wake up calls to go to the airport, to fly to the next city, to get to the hotel and relax a little bit, then go do it all over again the next 2 nights. So the toll on the body, it's a lot. On the ice, I was telling this to somebody the other day, it's hard to describe the feeling, especially in a playoff game, where you're sitting in the dressing room, getting ready to go on the ice, you hear the crowd going nuts, and you're walking out into that environment where the players are against you, the coaches are against you, the fans are against you, the media is against you, and it's just you and your 3 colleagues want to do the best job you can. It's a different mindset, and one that you have to learn to deal with quite often.
Brad, I'm just going to hop in here. I mean, I'm just looking through a lot of your accomplishments, first games and stuff like this. This stuff's available online. I mean, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Stanley Cup Finals, Sochi, Winter Olympics, done a couple All-Star games. You've had some international series, the Global Series. You're over in the Czech Republic, some outdoor games. Let's just start with the coolest venue where you were in awe of where you actually were.
Yeah, I had the opportunity, probably because I live close to here. I did the first outdoor game in Buffalo against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think it was probably have in front of you 2008, 2009, something like that.
Yeah, that was 2008, and I mean magical. The snow was falling. Crosby performed. We remember that game.
Yeah, and to walk out there, and it was almost made for TV, right? It's just flurries coming down the sky when we're walking out right to the overtime, the shootout, and I was lucky enough to be in the corner where Crosby won the shootout winner, and luckily got a lot of good pictures that one when he skated by. You did.
Yeah.
And what was the one game that you could think was probably the most intense game that you've been involved in? Maybe because of the stake, or maybe just because of the way the game played out?
Well, I think the hardest game I ever refereed was my first playoff game. You kind of go into it blind. You're working on your craft for 3 or 4 years before you get a playoff game. You just you go into it assuming that it's going to be the same, and then after like the first 30 seconds, you're like, oh my God, I'm not sure I'm ready for this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you have to adapt, and you learn from every experience along the way.
Just another point before we bring you up to present day, and I'm sure that it's an interesting profession. Is this for somebody that might think of wanting to be you and have those experiences that you've had? Is it a good career financially? Do you make a good living at it? And I know that's kind of personal, but Yeah, absolutely we do. And that changed back in 1993. I don't know if you remember when the NHL Official Association, they went on strike for a month and a half, and they made enormous gains, and they put their jobs and their life on the line to do that. And so we've kind of been piggybacking on that the rest of the way. And, I've probably been involved with, I don't know, do the math, like 6 or 7 new CBAs that came in during my time, and every time we've made gains, and it's all thanks to the people that started the association and stuck their noses in it in 1993 for everybody else. Kev?
Looks like, Brad, that you're transitioning into a new role. You step away from the NHL with your last game there just a few weeks back, and You're now the referee-in-chief for the GOHL, which people may or may not know. That's the umbrella league for the junior Bs here, St. Catharines. And right now, Falcons are down 2-0 against Cambridge. Talk about that transition, what your role is. And I don't know if you can touch in this role as to the series that's going on, but I think Game 3 goes tonight at the famed Galt Arena down in Cambridge.
Yeah, the position came available midway through last year, and I applied for it and interviewed and was lucky enough to get the job. During the first year, I really wasn't too hands-on, just because I knew this was going to be my last year. And can you still see me? Sorry, I went blank here.
Yeah, no, your screen just went away. I don't know. Probably got a notification on your phone. Or...
That's okay, but we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so it became available, and and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being in touch with the junior referees and linesmen. It brings you back to the days where, like I was saying before, I made a lot of my friends, and it was so fun going to the rink and working with your buddies. So the league itself, Craig Spada has done a wonderful job of making it one of the elite junior in the area, basically, and just grew by 2 more teams. I think we got next year. Woodstock, hometown, got a team for next year, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's funny, I went to St. Mary's last night, watched St. Mary's Stratford, and Stratford up 2-0. Then St. Mary's won last night. I think it was 6-1. So. Wow. And okay. I was in St. Catharines the other night watching the Cambridge, and hey, Cambridge.
Sorry, Brad, I cut you off, but fascinating conversation. It's wonderful to know that we have people of your background and ability and pedigree in our community. I don't know. Like I said, I think anybody that's watching this said, ask him about this, ask him about that. And,
I know, it could go on forever.
Oh, yeah. And if I had another hour, I could ask you about all those questions related to what it is that your life and career have held. But for now, this will have to do. And congratulations on the new appointment. I hope it goes extremely well for you. I'm sure it will. Brad Kovachik.
Closely.
I know. Kovachik. Is that it? Did I get it now?
Kovachik.
And Lee, just before we let Brad go, I want to give a shout out to not just the St. Catharines Falcons, but on the Cambridge side. I know Cambridge is up 2-0. Local guy from St. Catharines, Alex Forrest, rear guard there for them, absolutely lit up the league as a 16-year-old, and this guy's going to go on to do some great things, and he's a St. Catharines boy.
All right.
So something to cheer for on both sides.
What an unbelievable hockey player he is. I saw him for the first time the other night. Oh my goodness, he's got good times ahead of him. He's really good.
Yeah, I mean, to put up those numbers as a 16-year-old and on the point, it's man, pretty impressive. I know the family, and I wish him much success. We're going to see him, Canadian juniors, NHL, sky's the limit for that kid.
Yeah, for sure.
Brad, I get the sense that you enjoy this as much as you ever did, even back to when you started. It's wonderful out of a passion, and it's great to have met you here today. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. And if there's any other time you want to get together, please let me know.
We will.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers. What a fascinating story, man. And these people, Kevin, walk among us here in Niagara, and so many people we don't know about. Once again, just quickly want to thank Home Hardware, Grantham Home Hardware, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. Please check out all their stuff that they have going on at springtime. There's a lot happening there and a lot of great deals, so check them out. Niagara Parks Commission, Vera Wellness, Virgin Insurance Group, and of course Kevin always at WeeStreem. It's always a pleasure. And this season 7, episode 8 of Niagara 411 Live at Lee Sterry is already coming to a close. Thanks again to Fiddler's Poorhouse here at 149 St. Paul Street for allowing us to get in their way every couple of weeks. It's such a pleasure, and we appreciate you being here as well. If you know anybody that might like to be one of those sponsors across the top of this show, we have a couple of openings. Please feel free to contact us, and we'll see what we can do for you. We have, as usual, a Niagara-related act to play us off the stage. That's an old vaudeville phrase from way back in the 20s and 30s, etc., but it still resonates with me. In other words, we're just getting ready to leave, but let's have a little bit of entertainment to play us off the stage, which sometimes is the name of the song. This is Mel Monaco with Which Sometimes. You guys have a great rest of your week and a super weekend. Kevin, Jack, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. Cheers and happy weekend.
Whisper, whisper in my ear, telling me things I don't wanna hear. Careless thoughts creeping in my brain. Crack the whip, help the lion to tame. Not so hard when said aloud. Sometimes voicing makes me proud. Open up for all to see. Speaking truth sets us free. And just maybe voicing makes me proud.